No, I'm not the biggest Lord of the Rings fan, okay? I'm not going to go ahead and wax fantastic about the times that I was sitting by the fireplace, cracking open my copy of the Silmarillion to refresh myself to the lore of Middle-earth. No, nothing like that. I love the movies. I think that, the trilogy, the Peter Jackson trilogy. I mean, like, come on, whenever I talk about Lord of the Rings movies, I think we already know exactly what I'm going to be talking about. But yeah, those are fantastic films. Watched them multiple times over. Some of my personal favorites. And yeah, I guess probably compared to the masses, I like the franchise a little bit more than the average individual. But in recent years, oh boy, we have been subjected to some crap, and in the future, looks like we are going to be subjected to even more. But at the beginning of the year, we were offered a bit of a promise. Okay, there was a little animated joint that was going to be coming out from Warner Brothers, and this was before the announcement that Peter Jackson, Andy Serkis, and potentially Viggo Mortensen were going to be coming back to Middle-earth to carve out a couple of new tales, which I'm still highly skeptical about. But War of the Rohirrim, okay, telling the story of Helm Hammerhand, and tongue-tied on that one, a lot of H's in succession, okay? Precursor to King Theoden, like, it was a really interesting story, and oh, you were going to be bringing back Éomer, and she was going to be voicing, I believe it was the narrator in this film, but there's a possibility that it's good. And then we got the synopsis, and it's like, oh no, as if we didn't get enough pandery girl bossing in Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, which, yeah, that's going to be coming back here, at the end of August, so brace for impact on that one, or at least strengthen your gut for the number of belly laughs that are going to be coming up in the second season. But any hope that this was going to be a decent show, yeah, ended up getting tossed out the window, and not because it just has a female lead, it's because this is all ideologically driven. And I'm also seeing some stuff when it comes to the art, as letting you know that Hollywood is learning nothing about the success outside of their own little bubble in regards to entertainment. They're not learning from anything substantive. Surprise, I know, nobody is. But step aside, Galadriel, War of the Rohirrim, feminist story, Lord of the Rings, actually needed. Oh, no, it won't be, but okay. Lord of the Rings, the War of the Rohirrim will introduce a new female protagonist. Oh, God. And she may be the best possible feminist icon for the Lord of the Rings franchise. You already had one of the best female protagonists in all of fiction, but no. You're not satisfied with that, are you? Tolkien's books were woefully short on prominent female characters. I already hate this. I hate it so much. Okay, just the desecration of one of the best storytellers and his work of all time. Yeah, just because you think that modern sensibilities can go ahead and fill in these perceived gaps. I hate you all. Yes, with a select few, including Éowyn from Rohan. Yes, the elf Galadriel. We don't ever want to point to Peter Jackson expanding the role of Liv Tyler's Arwen. No. Okay, but it's kind of funny if you can go back through one of the archivists, like the Wayback Machine or something like that, and take a look at the discourse from certain fan communities at the time deriding what Peter Jackson was doing with Arwen. Oh yeah, you'd find yourself in a very different point in time. But I digress. Lord of the Rings of Power leaned into Galadriel's warrior status. Well, they more or less invented it because in their justification Tolkien didn't say that she wasn't a great warrior. But this has been overall controversial. Yeah, so how are you going to go ahead and make a brand new character, have her be better than one of the most distinguished warriors in all of Middle-earth's history? How you going to go ahead and polish this turd? Hera may be a different story. The upcoming anime movie, The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, will be set about 200 years before the events of Frodo's story. Early in the film's production, it was said that it would follow the war between Rohan's Helm Hammerhand and the Dundanlings. Well, this is still true. It has since been revealed that the War of the Rohirrim will center more on Helm's daughter, oh god, who is unnamed in Tolkien's version of the story. Yeah, just invented a new character. And all such changes or extensions of the Lord of the Rings canon are typically frowned upon. This may be an exception. Oh yeah, and then you get more of the story on this one. And like I said, man, okay, take a look. Take a look at what Warner Brothers is doing right here. What is super popular right now? Obviously, okay, I'll go ahead and fill in the blanks with you on this one, okay? Anime. You're going to say manga and anime. There you go. Okay, that is incredibly popular. Not like it hasn't been over the past 20 years or so, but it's especially popping off right now. So instead of, Hollywood taking a look at what makes those two mediums so overwhelmingly popular with the youth right now, is it the interesting storytelling? Is it the complex characters with clear and observable motivations? No. It's just the animation style. That's what people like. Hollywood never learns. They never learn anything. Okay, but the alleged marketing document for The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, reveals how the film radically changed J.R.R. Tolkien's original story. No. This is a new character. It's going to be great. It's fantastic. The alleged marketing document for Warner Brothers Pictures' upcoming animated film, The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, reveals more details on how the film is changing Tolkien's original story. Enough already, okay? Even from here, I can hear the good professor spinning in his grave. If you are unfamiliar with the story of Helm Hammerhand, Tolkien wrote a story in Apex A of The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. It begins with a confrontation between Helm Hammerhand and then the rival lord named Freka. Freka asks for Helm's daughter in marriage to his son Wolf. Hammerhand rejects it and calls him fat. That's hilarious. Freka responds saying, "Old kings that refused a proffer staff may fall on their knees." The two then participate in the king's council. However, it is concluded Hammerhand confronts Freka, rebukes him for his words of rebellion, and kills him with a single punch. That's dope. That's crazy. I don't know how you make that a movie, but that's hilarious. I kind of want to see that. He then declares Freka's sons Wolf and his men enemies of the king. 4 years after his confrontation, Rohan is invaded by Dundanlings led by Wolf. Okay, that's how you make this story. That's an interesting story. That's a fun story. They were joined by the enemies of Gondor that landed in the mouth of Lefni and Eisen. Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, that's kind of the precursor, the events that would transpire 200 years later. Okay, on a much smaller scale, but still an interesting story to tell. Now, Rohan loses the forces of the Dunlendings and their allies, led by Wolf, in a battle at the crossing of Eisen. After being defeated, Helm Hammerhand flees to the safety of Hornburg, where invading forces set up a siege. The invading forces also split with Wolf, leading a portion of the armies to Edoras to take the city. Tolkien wrote, "Wolf took Edoras and sat in Meduseld and called himself king. There Haleth Helm's son fell last of all, defending the doors." Meanwhile, at the Hornburg, a long winter sets in, and Rohan is covered in snow for 5 months. And both forces suffer from the cold and the lack of provisions in the attempt to acquire provisions. And against his father's counsel, Hama leads Swarte, but does not return, and were lost in the snow. Following this, Tolkien detailed Helm grew fierce and gaunt from famine and grief, and the dread of him alone was worth many men in defense of the burg. He would go out by himself, clad in white, stalk the snow troll in the camps of his enemies, slay many men with his hands, and it is believed that he bore no weapon would bite on him. One morning, Helm did not return and was discovered dead as a stone, but his knees were unbent. What a badass. Now, that's the type of story that Hollywood would not tell. And oh yeah, that's why they got to change it, right? Now, a new marketing document obtained by YouTuber Arch. How does he get a hold of this stuff? That's crazy. Now details on the upcoming animated film and how it will change Tolkien's story. Oh yeah, of course, we kind of already know what's going to happen. According to the document, Hera, the unnamed daughter in Tolkien's story, is the main protagonist. Oh yeah, of course, because she is no woman to get married. No. She will forge her own destiny and steel and blood and whatever other hack shit they can go ahead and force into this. The document states, finding herself in an increasingly desperate situation, Hera, the daughter of Helm, must summon the will to lead a resistance against a deadly enemy intent on their total destruction. This all-new standalone cinematic adventure forges the legend of Hera. Yes, such a profound legend that Tolkien didn't even write about it. A rebellious daughter of Helm Hammerhand, and as she answers the call to protect her people in a battle for their survival that shapes the destiny of Middle-earth. Oh, okay, cool. So totally cucks her old man. Furthermore, the document asserts that Hera is a young, fierce, complex, rebellious girl boss. Just stop it. You could have said, yo, she anime girl boss. So we heard you guys like it, okay? We got anime titties in this one. It's going to be great. Wait. Why is nobody turning out? What was it? Racist, sexist, bigots, homophobes. Of note, Tolkien does not name Hera at all, and she plays no role in the actual story he wrote. Well, yeah, of course. On top of this, there is no evidence that Wolf and Hammerhand's unnamed daughter were childhood friends. In fact, Tolkien makes it clear that Helm mistrusted Freka, but called him to councils, and he came when it pleased him. So yeah, of course, they had a contentious relationship, but that means that they were childhood friends, right? Ironically, the document also implies that they intend to bait and switch potential viewers. It details that it wants to entice viewers of the film by reinforcing connections between the world of the Lord of the Rings fans know and love with a new film, familiar characters, Helm, Eowyn, stunt casting, of course, beautiful settings, Tolkien Easter eggs, and continued tradition of quality filmmaking at its finest. And hey, you guys remember Edoras? Hey, you guys remember? You remember the Horse Lords? You remember? No? Why is nobody coming? Yeah, the document notes, okay, reinforce the legitimacy in the anime world by leaning into director Kenji Kamiyama as an authority in the genre. So yeah, okay, if it wasn't so obvious, okay, they're trying to bait and switch the story with one of the coolest tales that you could tell. It hasn't already been told on a broad scale, okay, so that you're going to replace it with a broad and give her no sense of scale. Yeah, you're also trying to co-opt other more popular animation styles. This is pure style over substance. And yeah, in case you forgot, Tolkien wrote Lord of the Rings, and he wrote about Middle-earth as a history for the English people because they ended up losing theirs to time. Conquest and wars, those tales can never be told again, so he just decided to go ahead and create one for himself. So yeah, tales like that, of course, it ends up screaming. It screams that we need to have Japanese anime influences. Yeah, fantastic. What a dumpster fire, man. This is going to suck. Would be surprised if it doesn't. It's just, we've seen this playbook before, and we're about to see the second season of this playbook, and do you think it's going to get better? Warner, man, you guys take one step forward and continue to take 25 steps back. If it wasn't for Paramount still clinging to life, okay, you would 100% be the dumbest studio in all of entertainment. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.